right, in the last module, we talked a lot about keyword research, but Amazon is not just about keywords. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes that Amazon sellers make is they just think about one aspect of selling on Amazon. Selling to the Amazon algorithm through keywords, becoming relevant so that you can run ads and things, that is definitely important. But at the end of the day, who are people selling to? Are we selling to Amazon?
We are not. What we're actually selling to are the customers that are going to be clicking within our listing. It's the people. It's making your listing a little bit more human. So combining the algorithm and everything we've decided from a relevancy, from a velocity standpoint, but also making sure that the people clicking are driving conversions. So things like your competitive advantage, your price point, your main image, all of that is incredibly important to consider under the scope of keyword research.
So let's go ahead and hop in and show how you can get some insights aside from just keywords.
All right. So what are the first steps to do in customer research? Well, it's important to understand that you are selling to a human being. All right. The last part, keyword research, that's more about like the Amazon algorithm and being able to be indexed and searchable and relevancy, all very important things. A big mistake sellers make though is sometimes they focus too much on that stuff, and then they have a listing that makes no sense and doesn't really speak to a customer. You've got to make an emotional connection on some level with customers to convince them to buy your product. And here's an example of how important this can be. If I were to search, or for this collagen peptides, Destiny, what do you think the main keywords that people would like, that if we did those steps from the last module about keyword research, what are some of the main keywords that people would use to find this product?
I would definitely collagen peptides, collagen for skin or their specific problems that they have. Maybe they're struggling with hair growth or skin issues. I think a lot of people like to personalize their search for whatever their independent needs are.
100%. Those are all, I've studied this. I've launched collagen peptides before. Those are all some of the top keywords in this niche. But we can't just focus on keywords when it comes to how we build our listings. None of those keywords really make emotional connections. They're just the way that people would find this product. So one of the steps is looking at main topics from reviews. Let me just give you an example here of what the main things that are people thinking about in these 135,000 reviews. If I run Helium 10 review insights on this listing and I search for the top 3 words that are showing up, you would think it's keywords like collagen peptides, collagen powder, and things like that. But then now I look at this one and I see coffee every morning. And for someone who doesn't know about collagen peptides, they might look at this like I did when I first used this example 7 years ago. I was like, oh, this must be a mistake. What the heck? I mean, this is a supplement that has to do with your hair, skin, and nails. What in the world would coffee have to do with it? And so if I actually look at these reviews, then I could see that people are putting these collagen peptides in their coffee every morning. And so that's like a huge takeaway of this. At the same time, I could see some of the negative things that people are talking about. Some people say it has no taste. Some people say it's only half full. Now, here's the thing. All of these things, guys, whether they're positive or negative, are these keywords? Is this what I would advertise for in a listing? No, but how do you make your or what is effective advertising? Effective advertising is when you are able to have a good conversion rate. All right. If 100 people click on my listing, is that an effective ad? Potentially, because the ad worked, it got people interested to click it. But is that effective advertising? No, if everybody clicks on the page and they're not really moved, and they're like, I don't want to buy this. What point is that ad then? There's no point other than to drain your pockets. And so these are things that help make a customer maybe sticky to your listing or help bring them to the finish line, right? These are not search terms. Nobody types in coffee every morning or has no taste or only half full into the search bar of Amazon expecting to get collagen peptides. Not one person will ever type that in, but it's what they're thinking about, because we can see that the customer, this is what's top of mind for them. So how you would use this is you would, hey, start making images. Maybe let's see if these people do it. There you go. Look at that. Combine 1 scoop into your favorite beverage, and they show a cup of coffee right here. I used to, like, make a joke 7 years ago when I would, like, throw this product and a few others under the bus and show in presentations all over the place where, Look at this. This is the top selling collagen peptides," and they don't do this, and then they must have been listening, and actually, I do think they're Helium 10 customers, but they like, 4 years ago, all of a sudden, all these top collagen peptides started adding these images, and then, oh, here's another image, look at that, showing the coffee machine, showing a cup of coffee right there, so, they could probably put it here, in their let me see if they put it here, let's see, coffee. Look at that. They put it in their bullet points. I didn't even know that, but I just found the keyword right there. So again, this is how this big, huge brand is taking advantage of that. It's not a search term. This never would have come up in Helium 10 Cerebro keyword research, but they're doing research into how their customer uses the product. That is the top thing to do when you are doing customer kind of like insight research, is identify main topics of the review. Here's another product that I was doing a test run of, is like a toy storage hammock, and I can see there's different things that, like, daughter's room, like, that came up, like, that was the top one. I didn't see anything about son, like having a, like in a son's room or boy's room or something. So how would this affect how I attack my listing? Well, I might talk about, you might want to put this in your daughter's room or something in my copy in my listing, or in an image, instead of having like a very boy themed room, maybe the way that I shoot this for my imagery, or some of my sponsored brand ads or sponsored display ads that are going to show up, or my video that I'm going to make for sponsored brand video. If I'm choosing a type of room, maybe it's a more of a girly room that I'm going to put where it's obvious it's a daughter. And why would I do that? Because I have this customer insights of that most people who are using it are putting it in their daughter's room as opposed to their son's room. And so this is a very important step in trying to make sure you've got a listing that speaks to your target markets, and it might even have a direct effect on the ads I run. That collagen peptides example I gave, if I'm making a sponsored video advertising, sponsored brand video advertising ad, I'm absolutely going to have imagery of somebody, putting this and stirring it into their coffee in the morning. So this is the way you can get insights. Another source outside of Helium 10 that's completely free and from Amazon is the Product Opportunity Explorer that we talked about in the keyword research module. Seller Central Opportunity Explorer is not just about keywords. You can also get insights from reviews. They look at even a broader range, a longer time period of reviews than Helium 10 is doing. So it's another way that you can round out some of your insights. It's not going to show you like certain topics that are showing up. So it's a different way to look at the reviews. Another thing to get into kind of like your customer's mindset is actually looking at the images of your other products that are in your niche. So remember, I gave an example before of a coffin letterboard. Well, what I did was I went into the Helium 10 tool listing analyzer. You don't need to use this, but again, if you're watching this video, you've got free access to this tool, might as well use it. But regardless, if you don't want to do it in Helium 10, just go to the listings, copy and paste each image, put it like in a PowerPoint or something like that, and just like look overall at the themes that are being kind of like given here in the images of your competitors. Because again, as you progress and as an Amazon seller, you're going to be looking at customer reviews, you're going to be getting customer feedback from emails or however, and then you're going to know that, like, for example, if all of a sudden a bunch of people are saying, oh, this product is a lot smaller than I thought, how do you think, Destiny, that would affect my images? If everybody was saying, hey, this product is smaller than I thought, and they gave it a bad review, what would you do as an Amazon seller?
I think there's quite a few different areas that a lot of people don't realize this will affect. One, just again, the reviews and the ratings is obviously going to hurt. Your conversion rate's going to drop. But to Bradley's point, you can use these things as your competitive advantage. If we adjust our imagery to address this specific problem and let people know the sizing ahead of time, or we adjust our image for this reason, then we can actually have a small competitive advantage. Then maybe our click-through rate's going to be higher. Maybe our conversion rate's going to be higher because we're relating to the core problem of our audience, which we identified.
Exactly, exactly. So you could see like what I would have looked for, or what I would have known if that was happening, is I would have seen more of this. You see how they used an image with a model here. If every single top seller in this niche had something like that, I'm like, I looks like I better have that, because that's not something you always need to have, but you can kind of like put two and two together. It's like, oh, they might have had issues with that. I had a product where everybody was saying, hey, it was the coffin shelf that I sell, where they're like, hey, this is a lot smaller than it looks in the image. I was like, oh, shoot. So what did I do? I had to go back and reshoot with a model the picture of somebody holding it or putting it on the wall so they can kind of have some perspective. I had to do that through trial and error. You're making a brand new listing. Have the right images from day one. Take advantage of the trials and tribulations, I guess, that your other co-seller or the other sellers, your competitors, have been doing, and you have the right listing from day one. So look at the image strategy. Like, does everybody have an infographic maybe that has like dimensional sizes? If you're in collagen peptides, does everybody have an image of somebody drinking it, at drinking coffee at the table? That means you should probably do that. So again, this is not a keyword. This necessarily doesn't have to do with advertising per se, but it's going to affect your advertising, because it's going to help your conversion rate with your advertising. And it also will give you ideas on things that resonate with buyers, for some of the types of advertising that has to do with your own custom creative, like sponsored brand and sponsored display and video ads and things like that. So again, look at your competitor image strategy as another way to get in your customer mind. Last step is, there's something new-ish, or, depending on when you're watching this, but it's only been the last few months. There's something called Rufus. That's like an AI shopping assistant. Not many people are using it yet. And I don't think it's ever going to be something like 90% of Amazon buyers are going to use, but Amazon is about doing all of the little things that move the needle 1% here, 1% there. And so Rufus is something that some people are using to kind of like maybe further help them in their shopping experience. And so what happens is when you click on the Rufus button, some auto questions come up. So for example, on one of my listings, I noticed that one of the questions that came up was, how sturdy and durable is it? And the answer it gave, if I clicked on that, it says the product doesn't mention durability, but the customers have mixed reviews. And so like all of a sudden now, the answer to the question was, some people are saying this is sturdy, but a lot of people are also saying that it arrives broken. So I was like, I don't want that to be what shows up if somebody clicks this in Rufus. So what did I do in this listing? I changed one of the bullet points. I was like, hey, this is a very sturdy and durable product. 10 minutes after it updated, like here, this is the actual Amazon listing, it updated. I asked the same exact question in Rufus. How sturdy and durable is it? Now, what does it say? Hey, according to the product, it is sturdy and durable because it's got MDF wood construction. And then it pushed some of those negative comments to the bottom. It's still going to bring out what the reviews say. So that was a way that, hey, I'm kind of like protecting myself against, if somebody clicks one of these Rufus questions where they get a negative vibe instead of a negative vibe, now they get that question answered in a positive way. And if that's important to the customer about how sturdy and durable it is, they're going to be X% more likely to buy my product. Now, if you've got a brand new product, you're not going to have Rufus questions to look at. So you just look at your some of your top competitors, because the questions that show up on their pages is probably what Rufus is going to put on your page. So again, have those questions answered from day one in your listing. Most likely, the important ones are going to be answered if you've done all of our other steps. Like if you did the review analysis, if you looked at the images, you're probably going to have images and copy in your listing that answers most of these questions. But every now and then, like in this case about the being sturdy and durable, there might be something off the wall that you don't have. Well, go ahead and update your listing accordingly.
All right, so now you know about how to make that connection with the customer. You've got all your keywords. The last step of getting your listing ready is basically what step now?
Perfect. So the next step is putting all of this in together and actually creating a listing that both ranks well and talks to the algorithm, but also converts for the customer.
We'll see you in the next module.